Imagine for a moment a very distant land where people lived in harmony with nature, without hurry, without the digital distractions that dominate our days. It was a land where beauty was in being who we truly are, without needing external validation. But even in this simple land, there was a constant search, a void that seemed never to be filled, and the anxiety of wanting more. Now, imagine you are one of these people, trying to understand this void. You are someone who has always felt the pressure to fit in, to be accepted, to be what others expect of you. And this feeling, this search, might be something you know well. The idea that we need more acceptance, more validation, more things to feel worthy. This challenge is especially great for the queer community. In a world that often tries to force us to be something we are not, or tells us we need to consume to be accepted, the very important words of a highly respected philosopher of his time, Musonius Rufus, teach us something surprisingly relevant for today. Musonius Rufus lived over 2,000 years ago, but his words echo with such clarity that it feels like they speak directly to the heart of each of us, especially in times when we are constantly bombarded with the idea that happiness lies in consumption and external validation. He gives us a powerful lesson. True happiness is not in what we have, not in things, nor in the expectations others place upon us. True happiness comes from within. It comes from our ability to be who we truly are, regardless of what society expects from us. If you stop and think about it, what he taught back then is still the key to a more authentic, fuller, and truer life today. It's incredible how such an ancient philosopher can be so relevant. We, in a consumer society, are constantly taught that happiness is in the things we own, in the images we show the world. And for us, LGBT+ people, the desire to fit in can be even more intense. Sometimes we believe we need the perfect body, the right style, or even to follow certain consumption patterns to be accepted or seen as legitimate in our identity. But what Musonius Rufus teaches us is profound and liberating. True happiness is not in the things we own. It's not in what we show others. True happiness comes from who we are. He knew that if we sought value in external things, in material objects or validation from others, we would be feeding a desire that would never be satisfied. Happiness is not bought. It is earned from within. It's not in consumption or appearance that we find peace. It's in being genuinely who we are, living according to our true essence. That's what really matters, and that's what Musonius Rufus teaches us. And that's what we need to hear, especially us, the rainbow community. Musonius Rufus spoke a lot about self-sufficiency. He believed that true freedom comes when we do not depend on anything outside of us to be happy. True happiness should not be determined by the validation of others or by the things we own. It should come from within. Our happiness should come from controlling our desires and accepting who we are. For us, as members of the queer community, this is even more crucial. We are often in search of approval. We seek to be accepted. We want others to see us as legitimate. But in reality, true freedom comes when we stop seeking that external approval and begin to find happiness within ourselves, without the need for anything more. Self-sufficiency doesn't mean we must live in isolation. It means that we are enough, as we are, without needing to prove anything to anyone. When we begin to believe this, we free ourselves from the need to consume or fit into molds that aren't ours. Musonius Rufus also teaches us about detachment, which is one of the cornerstones of Stoicism. Detachment does not just refer to avoiding excessive consumption of material goods. It is deeper. It's about freeing our mind and spirit from the constraint society tries to impose on us. And this detachment directly applies to our experience as LGBT+ people. How many times have we been challenged to conform to society's expectations? How many times have we been forced to show a version of ourselves that doesn't reflect our true essence? Detachment, then, becomes a practice of liberation. It allows us to let go of those expectations and live more authentically. It teaches us that we don't need validation from others to be who we are. This detachment also applies to the pressure we feel to meet aesthetic or behavioral standards imposed by a society that doesn't always accept us as we are. Whether in our body, appearance, the way we behave, or even how we express ourselves, the pressure to fit in can often be overwhelming. But detachment is an invitation to freedom. Freedom to be genuinely ourselves. Musonius Rufus reminds us that true freedom is not in acquiring more or being accepted by everyone. True freedom is in freeing ourselves from external expectations, from the desires imposed on us, and especially from the mindless consumption that never fills the void we feel. You are enough. Now imagine a world where we no longer need to prove anything, where you can live your life without the constant pressure to meet the standards of beauty or behavior that society imposes on us. Detachment frees us from all of this. It allows us to find true peace when we stop seeking validation in external things. And when we achieve this detachment, we are able to see our identity in a purer, simpler, and more authentic way. And for our community, detachment can be the key to embracing our true identity without fear, without shame, and without the need to be approved by anyone. By letting go of expectations, we discover that we are whole, just as we are. Help the Stoic for Us channel. Your participation is essential. Subscribe, leave comments, and give your precious like. It costs nothing, and it keeps us together for the next important interaction as much as this for our personal growth. Additionally, the practice of gratitude is central in Musonius Rufus's philosophy. He teaches us to be grateful for what we already have, for the journey we've already traveled, and for the person we already are. Instead of looking at what we lack, we should learn to be grateful for what we already have, for our identity, the people we love, the opportunities. We have to live our truth. Gratitude helps us see that we are already complete. We don't need more to be happy. We are already loved. We are already enough. And by practicing gratitude, we can finally embrace our authenticity without needing anything more. True happiness is inside us, not in more things. We, as human beings, often make impulsive buying decisions, driven by passing desires or the feeling that we need to be more to be accepted. But what if, instead of falling into this cycle, we engage in an exercise of resistance? An exercise to strengthen our mind and understand that what we really need is already within us. I propose something simple but powerful. What if we dedicated a week, or even a month, without buying something that we know we don't need? That's right, taking a break from consumption. Whether it's an item of clothing you don't wear, a gadget that won't change your life, or a product that society says is essential for you. Let's challenge the idea that we need these things to be happy, to be accepted. This exercise of resistance is not just about not buying, but about strengthening our ability to say no to what doesn't serve us. By doing this, you will start to realize that, in fact, happiness and fulfillment come from within. You will discover that, often, the things we buy do not bring what we seek, and that true peace comes from valuing what we already have, from being grateful for the simple things in life, for authentic relationships, and for the power of being who we are without needing anything more. During this resistance time, always ask yourself, why do I want to buy this? Question whether it's a genuine desire or just a reaction to a desire imposed by society. By spending a week or a month without these unnecessary purchases, you will be surprised by the clarity and freedom that emerge. You will realize that we don't need more to be complete. What makes us complete is the ability to live with what is essential, with what really matters. Give it a try. Be strong enough to resist the pressure and realize that you already have everything you need to be happy. This exercise of self-sufficiency and detachment from consumption can be transformative. It will show you that the void we often feel is not filled by more things, but by inner peace, by gratitude, and by the awareness that we are enough. Musonius Rufus believed that a simple life is the key to true peace. Living simply, focusing on what really matters, is the path to true freedom. For us, rainbow people, this simplicity can be the freedom to live without fear, to live without needing to hide, without the need to conform, but just to be. When we simplify our lives, when we focus on what really matters, we begin to live more authentically, more fully, and more truly. And that, at its core, is what Musonius Rufus teaches us. True freedom does not come from things, but from living authentically, simply, and focused on what really matters. In the end, the greatest truth is you are already enough. There is nothing more you need to be happy. You are already everything you need to be, exactly as you are. And when you understand this, true freedom will be yours. It will not come from external things. It will come from within you. Are you ready to put aside external expectations and start living authentically, simply, and truly? Because when you do, you will be free from all the chains that society tries to impose on you. True freedom starts now. Until next time.